a recognition of your own contribution, but as a leader, how important it is to recognize other people's contribution in addition to what these awards meant for you as far as your career growth is concerned.
No, I'm humbled, okay, to be recognized by an institution that is not, that I never knew about them before. But again, what this speaks is, in the Gambia, we have a lot to do in terms of recognizing what people are doing. I know there are hundreds of people or CFOs that are doing way better than what I'm doing. I just want to bring this to attention because when I went for this award, I realized that this has been existing for the past close to 10 years, but this is the 5th one. And the CFOs that I've seen that are being awarded, or people, the likes of Taiwo in Nigeria were once there, who you know very well. We used to work with PwC, the CFO of Standard Bank, we were recognized together. The Accountant General of Tanzania, we were recognized together. And this, people are not making noise as well, but I have to recognize this. The Finance Director of Gambia Ports Authority as well. We were the one that were selected in the Gambia. So recognizing people is fundamental for 2 reasons. For me, that's what I believe is to create an avenue for people to understand that there is reward for doing good, but more so to motivate the younger ones to understand that your efforts and your work is being noticed. For me, that's what it does. And it creates a reward system. It's not basically the finance that they give you. People think reward is only the finance. But for me, when I, went onto that podium and was receiving this, what reflected on me is my days at the village, where it all started. If I can make it in the stage of Accra, where I never dreamed of sitting with people managing billions of balance sheet at the time. Now you are there. It says a lot that what a Gambian can do or what that young person can do. So it makes people not to limit themselves. And I think this should be a habit that we should do. We should not wait for until people die or are passed on and we start saying, let's recognize them. Let's start embracing what people are doing because it creates a better society. Even, the Quran says it. If people do good, recognize what they have done. They were here. So we have to be recognizing what people are doing. But this was really, for me, it's an other defining moment for me, telling me that people are watching. Whatever you're doing, know that people are watching. So it's either today or tomorrow, but your job will speak for itself because I never thought about this happening years ago. And I reached out to you. I was even thinking that this is an order scam or anything. It's good that I'll mention it. But when I went there, it surpasses my expectation because of the caliber of people. And I was surprised how people were celebrating this in those countries. And me being me, trying to make it a little bit humble, I saw the people coming up with 10 people there, with families and everything. I said to myself, if I knew, I would have actually come with my family and tell some of my friends to come and enjoy these things with me. And it's beautiful to see that you're being recognized. And I think, yeah, you are right. I was pretty much the youngest because when my name was pronounced and I was looking at the room as I was moving on the podium, everybody was kind of shocked. And I know the shock was, what is this young guy doing?
Are you as a people on behalf of your dad?
Yeah, am I here on behalf of
my dad? Junior?
And I think what it says is it doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter your background. You can do it if you believe in it. My background was never to come. None of my family members were accountants or whatnot. So, and I think as a country, we need to do better in recognizing people. There are a lot of people doing great things. Believe me, I haven't done an iota of what certain people have done in this country. And we need to recognize them. And me is something that I really have to say that we have to work on as a people, the like of late Cherno. Still, when I think about Cherno, I cry that these are people that you create events to celebrate them.
I know. I've never worked in Deloitte. Shona used to be our audit partner when I was in Ecobank. I remember writing even about him in my memoir because I remember him talking to me, explaining about cost of capital concept when I was a ACCA student that time, and he took his time. There are many of them. I remember the late. There's a gentleman called Robinson. Robinson used to be executive secretary for GAA. I remember Robinson organizing through, of course, with the GAA, with Mohamed Gillen and the others. I think Gillen was the president at that point in time. They organized a training in partnership with the ACCA. That's what helped me on my tax. ACCA brought one of the examiners from London to come and teach us advanced tax. I think it was, I forget the name of the guy, but there was an examiner who would tell us this is how we mark. It's not like just giving us what he know about the. And this is important. We are not recognizing our people. I 100%
No, we have a lot. We have the likes of Alpha who are here. It's now that we should recognize them. And it's now that we, the young ones, should tap from these people, invite them on programs, have them speak. Because all of these people, they want to talk, they want to guide, they want to mentor. Let's create the platform for them. Let's recognize them. And I think, you know, which you are doing in your own way. I don't want to create marketing, but this is why we build the Finance Leadership Forum to create this. But I think recognition is something that we have to do for our people. And I think the accountant's role in society is really undersung, actually, because in fact, the person who was creating this award, that's what he said. He said, there is nowhere that you will go in an institution, organization, being public or private, that where you don't see the number 2 in most cases as the accountant or the most important person as the finance professional. But why is it that we write checks for people to go and celebrate a lot of things and we don't want to celebrate ourselves? I told him, I think it's because we're used to sitting behind the computers and we are afraid of talking to people. Possibly that's why. Or we're good at saying no to people. To some extent, we see even no to ourselves. But there are a lot of people that need to be recognized in this country, and I think we have to do it as a habit.
And on that, so it's a very key point, and I always keeps on talking about it. We worked together, we founded the Finance Leadership Forum, and I think we are doing our little way of doing it. And I think it's a fact that I can say from outside, I think institutions like our own JIGA could have played a bigger key role in this recognition, because it's like they are the mother and father, or let's just call it parents of accounting body or profession in the country. So whatever challenge they may have, that may be there. But I think even if it's just an email or a WhatsApp message or so, should be used to recognize people's effort. Just like you receive your award, I know our sister made us very proud in Gilan Sewa. Also received another award, international platform. I know we did our own way through the FLF. So, but let's see on a different conversation we have on this to see how best FLF can take this to another platform. Very well, if we can work with Jiga to do it together, that would be perfect. But otherwise, we should find a way of how do we recognize these people. I know if this is Nigeria, you will see press release being sent for you, being sent from Gilan on papers just to recognize them, so that the young people who are not on maybe on this platform like FLF, when they see it on the news, they feel like, oh, Gilan, for example, in the case of a female, is a female in the finance, she became a CEO, now she's winning international award. So maybe I too can become a CEO. I was talking to some people like Sini Job, Duba and Fatou Cham in people like them could see, you know what, Ngilan could be, even if I don't talk to her, could be an example for me. And similarly, you coming from the village, a boy from the village, a boy from Basse will know what, you know what, this boy is from the village and today is a finance director and is recognized outside, beyond the Gambia. Is a good thing. So that's why I like about recognizing our people when they are doing a great thing, both locally and internationally.
No, agreed. And I think it's something that we have to be very intentional as people. I know we try to be humble a lot, which we usually have this conversation, but it's not about you sometimes. It's about the people around you that you can motivate through this. nobody wants to see yourself being publicized. But when I look at even Ghana, the other day, I think yesterday, I was looking at the papers, and because now I follow some of their papers, and I realized that all these awards, the finance director of their GAIPA, this is like a big thing that all the papers are writing in their own media houses, and the Standard Bank CFO, and I think what institutions should come and do is to support some of these initiatives, because what I realized there, you have the likes of, not to create a marketing, but KPMG, Ghana, you have Standard Bank Ghana coming to embrace some of these platforms. You have a lot of companies that went there to sponsor some of these things. So I think those things need to come, as a country, we have to look at it from that perspective, and not just to say, oh, we are not into this course. But Ibrahim, there are a lot of people that need to be recognized in this country.
We will continue with the FLF. I'm glad that you are the current president of FLF, so we see before your term and how best we can
now get us money. Get us money.
one or two of these. So yeah, great. So I mean, as you know, we often host many people on this platform, and one of our conversation we had, or guests we had, we chat with 3 strong, very promising young ladies. As I gave their names, Sini Job, Fatu Cham, and Aisatuba. They are all working in different organizations, into banking, public sector, and other private companies. So we asked them different questions. So I thought I should pick one of them, which may be more closer to what you do, and that is Sini Job's question. One of the conversations we had was the alarming rate at which the number of students studying chartered accountancy is reducing. And I agree, because I remember in 2023, when we did one of our FLF meeting in Gambia, we had invited Baba Job. Is it Baba Job? I forgot his name, from JICA, the CEO.
Baba
Baro, exactly. Baba Baro. I mixed up with his friend Baba. You see, Baba Baro. And he also mentioned the same thing of young people studying to become a chartered accountant is reducing. And this fundamentally affects, because people may not know, in the laws of the country, many parts in the world, in the UK, in Nigeria, I know, there are some jobs you cannot do. You are not a chartered accountant. It doesn't matter whether you have a PhD from whichever school, it doesn't matter what you have. If you're not a chartered accountant, you have to be registered with them. You cannot do those jobs. And one of those jobs is a CFO or a finance director of a public company or a listed company. Now, let's even put the law aside. If we don't have people who are trained to become chartered accountant, you are also assured that there will be little accounting professionals we could export outside the country. Some of us are here where we are today because, first, we work hard, but secondly, we are also a chartered accountant. So it was easy to benchmark us across with other countries. Whether it's local chartered accountancy or international, it doesn't matter. Now, what Seni was asking, what is it that your organization and yourself, if your organization doesn't have a program, that you are doing to encourage young people to take a part in studying chartered accountancy program? Maybe there is something you are doing personally, or maybe there is something your organization is doing, because people who are dropping from these programs too, they have multiple reasons. But let me hear, what do you do as a person, or what your organization do as an institution to support more young people to study chartered accountancy?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I think maybe researchers now doing masters, I would say there is no empirical evidence to say the numbers are declining, as the academians will tell you. But we know in reality that the numbers are declining, because we didn't do a research on that. But the reality is the numbers are declining. Why? Because I work in places where I wanted to recruit accountants in numerous occasions, where usually what you get is people doing maybe the degree programs, or who are coming from the academic side. And like you said, in certain professions, it's always better to have people that have gone through that professional training. And luckily, kudos to what our institution is doing, the Director General, and with the vision with the management team, including the HR. When I went there, I found with my current role that they have an internship program for all the departments, from finance, we call it resource, which is the technical department, HR, IT, and everything. What we are saying is we even have deliberate policy around it. Each department at any point in time, you need to have one staff as an intern, to some occasion intern, two. So the intention is this: develop people's talent, because most of these people that are coming from the school, you'll be surprised to know, or it's not even a surprise, that what they're being taught at school is completely different with what they're doing at the job. As simple as bank reconciliation. You'll see people with degrees, if you give them a cash book, bank statement, reconcile, they don't even know where to start. What is what in reality, and where to start. As simple as that, which is now being automated. Let's put everything aside, which is now being automated. But, what it does for the young people is to create that opportunity to interact. For me, that is very important, to understand how the professional workspace works. This is very, very key. And this is what we are doing. And I think since I started, I found my colleague there, Modu Baje, doing very well. And, I push that hard. I make sure that at any point in time we have one. And luckily, all the people that I have trained there, usually before they even complete, through either my network, which is an order plus, or somebody's network, they have jobs full time, because they're able to start practicalizing their technical, or their theoretical knowledge. So that's what internship things is doing. And we did something similar at GNPC. We don't hire people direct at the time in finance, but we put them through the internship program, get us to know the people that you're working with, and so forth. And my case was that the same thing. This is what I was offered. And I tell people still, I went through an internship program, and today here I am. And I can maybe quote example, even our current lawyer was there as an intern, and fantastic lady, doing so many things. But even in the accounting profession, that's what we're doing. But beyond that, as an individual too, I think that we are doing to help myself and you and Musa Swa through the Future CFO program that we are wearing today, that we're providing courses that are very practical in the work and the job market. And this is what the professional needs. And this is not only for chartered accountants, but even people that are coming from the academia doing the job. But the most important thing is, I think there should be deliberate efforts. And with the coming of this capital market, it's not going to change, that those laws will remain, because this is what protects the integrity of an industry or a profession. And we have to acknowledge that, not only in the Gambia, because in other countries, they have their own local one. With us, unfortunately, we're yet to have that. We are on this ACCA and other professionals. We have to jealously guide it to make sure that this brings investors confidence, because you look at the audit firms, that's the truth. The audit firms, the accountants, now the profession is dying in this country. So that intention, building institutions to do it, now you don't go through those normal way of saying constructing a physical building to put students there. But I think we should go digital. A lot of students now are doing the ACCA with me. I used to do it with Martin Jones in LSBF online. So I think our professionals as well need to be very intentional. Join the CFO platform. Courses on ACCA can be created on specific topics: financial modeling, financial management, valuations. These are all critical topics that you have in the ACCA program, tailor-made it. And I think that's the part that we are playing in our own quarter. Is it enough? No. Do we need other people to come and join and do it? Yes, because that's where the multiplier effect comes into play. And I think I'm calling on everyone not to just sit and say, I've made it. The most important thing is the people that you have touched their lives. And these are the things that we will be remembered for. It's not the money that we are making. And I think accountants are very good at, oh, let me make the thousands of dollars and sit in my own corner. But our sister professions like the lawyers, even the drivers, they are having this form of organization to see that there is development within their professions, and there is sustainability within their profession, because we cannot fail the next generation of accountants, which means we are failing the country, because anything that is accountable here is accountants. So I see this profession as a very noble profession, just like any other profession like the lawyers. And I think people make deliberate effort around making sure that
I'm just even I'm trying to remember some part of history. When you look at the history of corporate governance, accountants were recognized first. I may be wrong, but I think accountants were recognized first before the lawyers.
So,
because in the history of corporate governance, people used to. So does not mean there is no law. There was law, but that was more from government point of view. It's like when you say judicial system, lawyers were known for that. But when you come to matters like corporate, accountants were recognized first in the act of the law, where you can say you cannot be an accountant until you go to certain training before such became for lawyers. That's what I'm trying to see, because I learned a bit about history
case in point, if you look at but case in point, if you look at, we are among the professions that define that code of ethics.
Yeah.
Not many professions. Yes, very old.
Very old.
Yeah, so not many professions that you will go and find this. Yes, now you'll have it, the lawyers. The other day I was talking to my wife, who is a lawyer, and was telling me now they ask not to even go and buy breakfast on the street. Just, to protect that image. And I think as a profession too, we have to jealously guard that. But first, we need to build that competence. We need to build that skill, then move into the next stage.
Yeah.
And
I think the issue of practical knowledge is very important. This applies to both the ACCA and that of the university students. A lot of the time, we think these qualifications give us all the skills we need. We need to go to the job and get a very good salary.
wow.
Truthfully, it's not correct. A lot of these places, they don't teach you, for example, like financial modeling.
No.
Most of them. And you don't even hear about what financial modeling is. If you can't do a financial modeling, how do you prepare a proper budget today in a very good way? You know the principle of budgeting, but you don't know how do you design it and present in a very nice form. You have to learn the skill. They don't teach you about career planning. So, and you rightly said we are developing something around that through the Future CFO platform, where we have the online training program to get people. And I think we started this conversation in 2023, towards middle of 2023. And I still remember vividly when I was in Gambia in 2024 January, we had opportunity to meet with Mbake. I think it's Mbake Kamara.
Mbake, yeah. It's this, I think, at the university.
UTG, exactly. So we have not reached to him, but we promised him that we are developing our own solution, because we believe in lean startups. So I'm glad that today we have 2 to 3 courses that are online there that people can take on. And we had a lot of very good feedback on your program on taxation, because it's relevant to Gambia tax. You want to learn it. For example, what you covered there, it's Gambian tax. It's not about the UK tax or Nigeria tax. So somebody in Gambia who want to understand taxation can go there and learn tax. The similar will be developed in other areas too, and more people are going to jump. So I think that is a very important thing as a way of developing skills in a more practical way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about a bit about the future-ready finance leadership, because we know our profession, like any other profession, is very dynamic now. Now there is generative AI. Before we just had machine learning, we just had AI, but today we have generative AI, which you even have agentic AI, and all of these will come with all kind of intelligence. They are going to disrupt what we do. According to World Economic Forum, you could have close to 30 million jobs being impacted by this in another 5 to 6 years. And one of the examples they give is the secretaries, clerical works, maybe like account clerks. You don't need somebody to come and type in and put the invoice in. You can scan the invoice automatically and book into the accounting system. How do we prepare ourselves for these future changes? What are some of those future things you believe will happen that may impact our profession, and how do we prepare ourselves for them?
When I think about this AI, artificial intelligence thing, I said, who develops it? AI cannot be smarter than the brain. But now it depends on that individual, how you play around the brain, right? So I think, reflecting back again, the best AI is the human brain. For me, people will say, yes, there will be jobs that are lost, but there will be jobs that are created. That's the truth. So any disruption, the people that understands it and challenge themselves become the winners. Just like when COVID came, smart way, Johnson & Johnson and all the other people say, oh, let's go and create a vaccine. It was a quick business for them. So AI too is, for me, is the same thing. Now, the clerical and the routine tax jobs that we used to do, the accounting, technical accounting things that we used to understand, the valuations and so forth. Systems can do those things better because if they're automated, they do it better and seamless and easy. Now, how do we use this data becomes another issue. How do we interpret this data becomes another issue. But for you to interpret the data, you have to understand how is this data inputted, how is it generated. For me, that is very critical. So let's position ourselves in that shoe to understand exactly what these machines are doing, how they're doing it, what is the output, and who our target audience are. Because every day now, your target audience are changing, or their needs are changing. So you developing your skill set in that becomes very easy. Now you don't need to spend time, for instance, to write a letter in certain ways. What I will advise people is go and learn how to make prompts in ChatGPT.
Prompt engineering.
Engineering. That's what you have to learn. And for instance, that's what I'm doing now. I can remember I was doing this presentation and, you know, within 30 minutes, I think my boss said, Salifu, we have to do a presentation for this. And I just went inside, developed the document quickly, put it up and run it into, first I run it into Nipkins, which changes words, scripts into graphics and put it into, you know, comma, I think is, I forget the name of that AI again as well, because obviously you have to pay. And automatically my PowerPoint presentation was developed. Oh, what is it? Yeah, Gamma. Fantastic, Gamma. So the next thing is now, how do you present this information? That's where now the human intellect, that is our AI, as the human brain has to come and play its magic. For me, that is what is important now. We have to, accountants should not go through that traditional way of learning basic accounting. But now we should be coders, understand how coding is done, understanding, you know, if we want to be competitive. And during this event, the award, the person that came from Uganda, he said now they are finance people, they are not recruiting technical people, technical finance professionals. They are recruiting engineers as finance professionals. And I was telling them, now you are seeing CFOs who traditionally have not gone through this, you know, traditional finance, but because they understand this generative AI, this data analytics, and so forth. For me, those are the future points that you have to, how do we use the data coming from AI? But first, we have to go backward and understand each stage of this, because I believe that the human brain is the most powerful AI. Yes, job will be lost, but we have to position ourselves to be able to use this, not to be, you know, people that lose our jobs, but rather make ourselves relevant in the system.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. AI will come, it will take other jobs, it enhances our productivity, but it will also create other jobs. Now, if you are auditor, you know that you are going to be auditing AI work. So that means you have to know, how do I audit AI?
Yep.
So you are auditing a human being who probably is a bit lazy, if I put it that way, or have some limitation, but AI becomes so perfect. Now, I saw an example of AI creating an invoice, which was a fake invoice. Said I was in maybe US, I ate the food. I received an invoice that the person went to a restaurant and ate, it is an stamp paid. So that means time will come, people can just create any invoice for you and create a stamp paid and use it on their petty cards and claim out of it. So that means there'll be people who know how to audit those kind of things. That'll be very, very, that's where we start thinking differently. There is deep fake, where they create voices. A lot of companies have been scammed with that already, where they will call this, I'm the CEO, I want you to make this payment. People respond because they think it's their CEO. So all of these things make us start looking at what kind of controls we put in place against this technology. So it's important we invest more time into AI for us to be able to participate in this trending or the changes.
Yeah,
Mr. Ba, thank you very much. It's been great having you here. But before we ask for your closing remarks or conclusion, I wanted to ask, first of all, do you have any question for our next guest, as we often do here? We don't know who will be our next guest, and we will work towards that. But I don't know whether you have any burning question that you felt we can ask our next guest to maybe discuss upon.
Possibly I will do a rhetorical. Possibly it could be you. So maybe I can ask. Yeah, on top of my head, I try to localize things, try to see what our market needs as a country, because we're, to be honest, 500 steps back compared to what is happening in the other, sides of the world, especially in this day of, we've talked about AI, we talk about finance transformation, we talk about digitization. As a country, I don't just look at finance people. How can finance lead or bring these conversations of automation from a business sense to make sure that this is embraced by stakeholders? Because why I'm asking this question, I can remember a couple of years ago being a finance staff, when IT comes up with, IT transactions, you just look at them and you hate and say, look, you're spending so much money, not knowing that, this is really creating efficiency. But today we see the realities that is kicking and is kicking fast. And for us to export knowledge, we need to adapt to that process. So how do we, as finance professionals, lead this transition of digitization? For me, is a question. I don't know how to put it best, but how do we lead this process to bring the business case of the business case of this financial transformation? For me, it's important, because usually when finance talk, most of the people will listen, because their biggest scare is money. And when we are talking about transparency and everything, I use government as an example. When you talk about accountability and transparency, we just had a law which is saying access to information bill. Do you think people should be writing papers and come and ask why? With digitization, can we transition from that? But if finance put in a business case, it might be considered. So how can finance lead that process? I think that would be my conversation or my question for the next guest. And yeah, before closing, I think I would like to, unless if you're going to give me an opportunity to close, but I think
please proceed.
Yes, I did not mention a lot about my family when we were having the conversation, because it was more on the professional. But it's very important to know that you cannot have success without your family. And when I mean family here, yes, friends, professional colleagues, they are family, but your blood family. And it's important to look at that, from your wife. For instance, myself, I got married at a very young age, maybe at the age of 25. And whilst I was failing exams, I had a wife who would, tap my back and guide me through those stumbling blocks, through that process. And these things were defining moment. You have your kids that will support you. But beyond that, I tell people, this is not finance, but as an individual, you need to be vulnerable if you want to make it, for people to know exactly what you're feeling. There were moments that I cry, call my dad, my mom, and cry just to remove it before so these people played a very important role in my career. My uncles, my aunties, these are all people that have played a very big role in my life. And I think one day I'll have to follow your footstep, just to write a book, and for people to know that this is what people have gone through to achieve what they've achieved. But without family support, believe me, it becomes very difficult for you to make it in life. And we have to be recognizing this effort that and the sacrifices that they are doing, especially our spouses, because they go through a lot to see us achieve this. They sacrifice a lot to see us achieve our successes sometimes. And for me, these are things that I think don't cut it on your when you're doing your editing. So bring it out for people to know that it's important, because some people will be saying, oh, I have to wait to finish before I get married. You can still be married and get the qualification. Yes, just get the right partner. So
definitely agree.
I thought it wise. I would not do justice if I finish this video, because if you have a lawyer, it's always difficult. They're watching or listening to you. So
but she knows. I mean, definitely, whether you talk here or not, she knows that you have her back, and I always agree with you. Families play a very key role, because I always say to myself, and I remember when I was talking about our career management course that I have on the Future CFO platform. There was a section about work-life balance, and I always say, number one is yourself. Number one is yourself. Number two is your family, and number three is the rest of the people, employers, and the rest. Because if yourself is not okay, you are not healthy, you can't do anything. Even the family will be in trouble. So you have to take care of yourself, work-life balance, exercise, train, be in the right mental framework. Then when you have those things, but remember, then number two is your family. They create a lot of opportunity around you. You are comfortable living to travel like people like us who travel quite a lot, because you know there is someone in the house who take care of these kids. You are comfortable to even be on this call because you know there is somebody with the kids somewhere there.
Absolutely.
And who you probably would not love the children more than her.
Yeah.
So these are comfort you can always do. Not everybody has that opportunity. So it's important when you have a good family, and not everybody has that kind of family we know we are living in. Not everybody has the opportunity. Not everybody has. Some people don't even have a sibling.
Absolutely.
They just wish they have a sibling. Some people don't have a brother. Some people don't have a sister. Just
Yeah.
don't have it. Some people have not even haven't seen their parents.
Yep.
When you have it, take care of them.
Absolutely.
And when you get sick, when you are bedridden, you can't go. Many times we've seen practically, not people in the office will call you. After 6 months, after 12 months, office even remove you from the payroll. They say, this is our policy. But the family does not stop in most cases.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So
Yeah.
I always talk about, and I encourage you, as we always discuss, to write your book, because I always believe we all have a story, and our stories are always fascinating, that young people are going to learn. This is a mistake we again make in Africa. People don't write their stories after they have gone. People start imagining who you are. With the few pages I wrote, which does not even cover half of my story, I think my first readers were my children, and some of the things my daughter came up to me and said, now I understand why you talk about certain topics. So I encourage you to write, and I encourage accountants, don't write. Somebody was telling me accountants who write, so it's not surprised. So please, we have to encourage our accountants to write. This is social media time. There are many stories. By the time you even go through your Facebook, you go through your LinkedIn posting, you go through your Instagram, you will even remember some of your stories because they are posting it. If you go through those videos, those images you post, you start connecting them together. To write a very good short memoir, you don't have to be 70 or 80 for you to write something. It's really incredible. And I think before we come to the formal closing, I don't know what message you have for our future CFOs. This is a future CFO podcast, so where we are trying to create awareness for young people, especially who can be future leaders in finance profession. What message do you have for them as your closing remark, Mr. Ba?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ibrahim. I'm very grateful for this opportunity once again. You have to push me to come and do this, and I think maybe I don't think I'll regret doing this, or I regret doing it. But to the young ones, I will always say it. You can make it, and all it requires is look for the right mentor, define your purpose, and be intentional. Define your purpose and be intentional. Nothing can break you. They can delay you, but they cannot deny you. That's the truth. If you're there, they can only delay you and they can't deny you. So my message is define it, be intentional, go and take it. This world moves and you need to get ready for the opportunity, for you to get the opportunity. Not people are lucky, but because they were ready for that opportunity. And if you're not ready for that opportunity, you don't get it when it comes, you miss it and start blaming people. So don't be part of those that blames people. And that would be my message for the young professionals. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ba, and thank you to our audience and listeners. We were talking to Mr. Salifu Ba, who is the current finance director of Gambia Petroleum Commission. Mr. Ba is a chartered accountant, and he is also one of the co-founders of the Future CFO Institute, the president of Finance Leadership Forum, a tax expert in the Gambia, and a young professional who have made his own impact, as you've heard his own story, starting from a village and then moving all the way to the city where he had to go through different careers as, if you want to call it, a starting point of being an office secretary, intern, where he's carrying papers from one desk to another. But today, he's at the height which we can say he has really achieved growth in his career. And this is Salifu's story. I'm sure you have your own story, or you have your own path that you are following up. Listen to what Salifu has done. You can listen to much more other videos that we have on either our YouTube or on our website that will help you to grow in your career. So until we see you next time, thank you very much.
This podcast is brought to you by FutureCFO.info, your go-to platform for practical finance and CPD courses. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this episode with your network.